Hello and welcome to episode 191 of First Geek 411. I'm your host, Cameron Franklin, and with me on vacation mode, Emma. How are you doing?
Good. I'm in my childhood bedroom, which looks nothing like my childhood bedroom anymore.
We talked about it a little bit in book club, but I think one of the fun parts about you being like on vacation is just the where are you at aspect of this. If I think every time
Where
we've
in the world
recorded,
is
yeah,
Emma now?
exactly. You've been in a different location every time, and it's always super interesting to see where you're going to be.
To be fair, the only thing that's the same is the color of the walls. It's very light blue. That's about the only thing that's the same. But yes, I am somewhere different now. That would be Washington State. Yay!
With us in a room that, as always, could be literally anywhere, and also on vacation mode, is Shanine. How are you doing?
Good.
How are you
got
feeling,
nothing.
Shanine, about this top three?
It's so stressful. Oh my goodness, you guys.
I
I
believe in you.
shouldn't. I should have just like thought off the top of my head, like, what animated movies do I like, and not actually looked at like the Wikipedia lists. Now there's too many.
Fair.
Way too many.
Fair enough.
I believe you can do it.
I can't.
That
Gonna
top
hurt
three that we
somebody's
are talking
feelings.
about is our top three animated movies since 2012. It's going to be something. And before we get to that, we're of course going to catch up. We're going to chat about Morbius, Spider Man, and Tolkien's 130th birthday.
Yay!
As
That's
always,
today.
is it actually today?
It is actually today.
I had not read
Okay,
ahead.
we can skip my news now.
We can talk more about it.
I did not read ahead because book club has trained me. You don't look at you just look at the headlines and then that's what you do. Listeners, as always, you can find us on social media as One Geek 411. You can join the Discord server if you want to chat between shows. You shoot us an email at 1stgeek411@gmail.com. You can also check out our website, onegeek411.com. And you can watch live on Twitch each Monday night at 6:45 Mountain Time, and find the videos over on our YouTube, where you can like, comment, and subscribe, which you can also rate and subscribe wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. Then you can check out our Redbubble store if you want to buy some cool merch. So let's get caught up. It has been like a week and a half since we've chatted for book club, 2 weeks since we've had a normal episode. What all has everyone been up to? Emma, if you want to kick us off.
I pet a horsey yesterday.
I saw your photos. I'm super
It's
jealous.
more exciting for me. It's probably the most exciting for me of this entire group. But I got to hang out with a horse, and that made me happy. Because I miss the smell of horses, which is a weird thing to say, but if you enjoy that kind of life, then it's understandable. So I got to pet a horsey. Specifically my best friend's horse, who I'd never met. Brand new. Well, brand new. She's like 14 years old, but my friends had her for a year, and because of the pandemic, the panini, I had never met Summer before. So I got to meet Summer, the cute little 14-year-old Arabian horsey. She's adorable, and I love her. I didn't want to steal her, but I can't afford a horse, so I'll just show up to my best friend's house instead. Anyway, I gotta hang out with the
Shanine,
horse.
have you ridden a horse before?
Yes.
Okay, I have as well, but I was like 10.
There you go.
So it has been a
We
while.
do have horses in Canada.
Well, yeah, I mean, I
Believe
figured
it or
that.
And then I, for Christmas from my dad, got a complete and matching set of The Wheel of Time, which is the series that I keep talking about and keep talking about and keep talking about. And I'll say it again, it's like 14 books long, and all of the books that I have before this were all mismatch. So I've had on my Christmas list for a couple of years to have a matching set. So I got that for Christmas, and it was so delightful. And I was very excited to have a matching set of books for a very long series. And then Cameron's actually week reminded me, or list reminded me that I that New Year's happened. Happy New Year.
Yes. Happy
And I
2022. May it not be 2021 or 2020.
no. um and I hung out with some other high school friends who I hadn't seen in a long time, and we played some Mario Kart, and I did considerably better than I thought I would, but not great. I didn't do great, but I did better than I thought I would. So,
Yeah. It's
my own
something.
personal record, which is a good thing to work towards. So that's been my week.
Shanine, what about you?
All right. For New Year's Eve, we got pizza and watched Encanto.
Great choice.
So that was exciting. It was good.
Are you
I
talking
had
about
some
Bruno?
emotions.
Yes.
Yes, love Bruno. Wasn't expecting to love Isabel and then super loved her all of a sudden.
Yep.
Like all of the much.
Yeah. There's a big change there at that song.
Yep.
All of
like,
it.
ooh, I relate to this hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. And found out once again, Alan Tudyk voiced the animals. So
Yep, because he lives at Disney. He just
Yep.
hangs out there. It's like, oh, you got an animal?
just
Well,
like
I'm here.
squawks and stuff, and they're like, put it in a movie. I love it.
Yeah. It does make me wonder if they just have like an archive of just like, we don't know
Outtakes.
like we don't know what movies we're gonna do. Give us some squawking. We're gonna need you to make some bear noises because we might use a bear at some point. Like, just while you're here, like.
He just has like 2 recording sessions of a year or whatever.
That would be the life.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the life.
Yes. Encanto, very good. Quite enjoyed it. And then I decided to start the year with Your Lie in April. So you're welcome, Chris. I'm finally watching it. I'm only 1 episode in. I don't know where the plot is going, but I can tell that it's going somewhere sad.
Yeah, to be fair, I also have tried to watch Your Lie in April, and I also got 1 episode in, and then that was the like, well, basically had the same vibe as you, and I was like, I don't know if I need this.
I mean, I love it. That's my favorite vibe out of entertainment.
For the record, I am 4 episodes in.
So you're the expert.
But it's been a while.
To be fair, I only just started watching it. We'll get there.
You gotta believe.
Next week, I'll tell you how much I cried. And got some fun, geeky Christmas gifts, which is always fun. Big old stack of books. One of them being a Firefly novel that apparently exists that I'm excited to read. So that'll be fun. And a big old Doctor Who anthology of winter stories. So that's exciting. Also got the Fox in the Forest duet. So it's fun to have a specifically 2-person game. And
nice.
Also just foxes, and it's cute and it's easy and I like it.
Yes, it's also like it's always nice when there's something that's like your vibe. Like,
yeah,
it's like I connect with this.
Yeah, and then my friend got like the full like multiplayer game, so now we can compare. I'm excited. I also got some RPG system campaigns game things from Presspot Games. They're just like little, like tiny little magazine RPG things. One of them is a solo one, which I'm super pumped for. You know me. Um, um, Another one, technically a 2-person one, but I feel like you could just make it be more. And then the other one that I was like, fun, I'll have like a one-shot to run for the channel. Turns out that it's super depressing.
Oh
And I'm
no.
like, I don't know if I can convince everyone to play this with me. I'm super into the concept, but
It'll be like Valentine's
it's
Day or
dark.
something. That'll be our like super
Oh.
depressing Valentine's Day content.
Oof.
Oof, indeed.
And then you've also been doing a lot like figuring out what you're gonna read the next year, right? Like doing your.
Oh man.
I've
My
seen like
list
like
is
your
so
lists.
long. Yeah, so I got like a bunch of recommendations from people for like those 12 recommendations in 12 months. A lot of really good books from those recommendations. And then I was like, I should clear my shelves and like see how many books I need to read this year. I cannot read them all this year. All the
You
books that I
sure?
have on, I cannot. It is a page and a half of books. And I
Have
didn't
you
even
thought
write
about trying?
I didn't even write out all the books that I have on my shelves, and some of the ones that I did write out, I just wrote out as the series
Oh,
instead of like
Oh,
all 12 books in the
yeah.
series.
so it just
I
says the
have
Wheel of
them.
Time.
No, but like the Witcher series and the Sword of Truth series.
Sword
Sword
of
of Truth is
good.
about as long as Wheel of Time,
Okay.
so
Fair.
I think I've read the first 2 Sword of Truth. It's one of my best friend's favorite series, and so I think I borrowed the first 2 from him.
All the books.
Mm.
yeah.
Mm. So for me, for Christmas, Deanna got me tickets to go see John Mulaney,
Nice.
who is a comedian, and I am super excited about it. And then got to see family and friends and all that kind of stuff, which is also always great. I think it was after the last podcast, but before book club, I got my booster shot.
Oh.
And so that was indeed an experience.
Yeah.
Overall, it wasn't too bad. But I indeed did not feel great, but I got to witness how much of an extrovert I am because we had plans to see people the day after I got my shot, and I did not feel good, but I was not canceling the plans. It was like, I will see my friends and I will have fun. And so, but now I'm boosted. And so here,
Yay.
get that vaccine, everyone. Then,
Do it.
holiday wise, we went over to some friends on New Year's Eve, played some board games. Well, I say that. We played a board game.
And it took the entire time?
Yes. And so we split guys and girls. And so the guys, we played Founders of Gloomhaven. It was my first time playing with 4 people. It was indeed a mess. In a good way, a mess. I messed up my second turn of the game, and I think that's one of the big contributing factors to why I lost.
Ooh.
Like it was like one of those that, like, in hindsight, it was like, yeah, I think if I would have done insert other move here on my second turn, I might have done better. Not necessarily that I would have won, but I think I got last place because I wasted my second turn doing something I shouldn't have done. But here we are.
Say lovey.
Yeah. You live and you learn. It was my first 4-player game. So after only playing it with Deanna and then I played it solo once. But and then we watched the Harry Potter 20th anniversary special on HBO.
How is it?
It's good. It's nothing too crazy. There's some fun, like, behind the scenes type stories, but it's nothing too crazy. I did get emotional at the end. There was definitely, like, I was like making it through, and I'm like, man, look at me getting through this. And then like the last 5 minutes or 10 minutes hit me like a truck. And I was like, oh man, here are the feels. Yeah, it was good. I mean, if you're a Harry Potter fan, definitely recommend. If you're not, you won't like it.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to change anyone's mind on the series. Nor do I think it's trying to. But it was good. It was fun seeing most people. Obviously, several people have passed away, but
Yep.
It was good to see the cast reunited for a bit. Even though it's one of those, I think they probably would have done more had this not been like COVID stuff.
A pandemic.
Yeah, because like they never did like a panel with all of the actors. You never, even if there are more than like 4 people in the shot, you very rarely see like groups of more than 4, like that kind of thing.
Right.
And so it was one of those that like very much has the vibe of like they would have done something else. Like who was it? You don't see Rupert, who plays Ron, and the guy who plays his dad. I don't think they're ever on screen talking with each other. Like there's the rest of the Weasleys talking, or the main Weasleys, the twins and Ginny, but then but Ron isn't there. And so it's one of those that's like they clearly brought in like Daniel, Emma, and Rupert and had them like, okay, y'all are going to be together.
Yeah.
And then have some other side conversations. But there was some weird stuff like that. Apparently they put in the picture of the wrong.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They put in Emma.
I want to say it was Emma Thompson or something.
Yeah, Emma Thompson instead of
Emma Watson as a kid.
As Emma Watson talking. So they had a picture of Emma Thompson while the other Emma was talking. So.
Yeah. Apparently they've already fixed it. So like if you watch it now, you won't see that, but you know, mistakes were made. And so
They were indeed made.
Yeah. And then other than that, for stream on Sunday and for a lot of the past week, I have been playing Pathfinder Kingmaker, which is an isometric RPG set in the world of Pathfinder. And you basically, through the plot, because I don't know a better way to segue it, through the plot, you end up becoming like Baron of this area. And so then you're basically trying to keep your kingdom afloat. And so it's pretty long from what I've seen online. So I don't know if I'm ever going to actually finish, especially since I had like 3 other games arrive today. But it's pretty long. And apparently you can just like get hard game overs where it's just like, hey, you need to save your kingdom now or else. So there's that. But it's been a lot of fun. I've been really enjoying it. Like I said, though, it's like 70 hours. So I do not know if I will ever actually finish it.
There you go.
But here we are. So listeners, hit us up with your holiday plans and all of that kind of stuff. What all did you get up to? Great Christmas gifts, all of that kind of stuff. And we'll be happy to chat about it with you. For our news this week, I'm going to go ahead and go first. And of course, we're chatting Spider-Man. And so Spider-Man No Way Home continues to reign atop the weekend box office. And this is coming from IGN, where No Way Home has brought in another $52.7 million during the last weekend of the year. And so it has passed $609 million, making it the 10th highest grossing domestic film of all time. And then it has also earned $1.37 billion, making it the 12th biggest box office so far. And so
I would like to point out that its budget was roughly $200 million.
Yeah.
For point of reference.
Which is like also seems like staggeringly low.
Yeah.
Like as far as like the effects of that movie go.
Endgame was 356 million, and Far From Home was 160 million.
Again, I would have put Far From Home a lot higher than that, just with the monsters and all the drones and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I also don't know how movies work or money works, really. So, you know.
I mean, for me, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I can kind of see how that pans out. But yeah, it pans out.
Yeah.
Makes sense in my head. As the person getting a degree in that area.
Yeah. And then we have all seen it.
Yes.
Have any of us seen it twice?
No, but I would if I had the option to.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I've seen it once, but I would definitely go see it again if someone invited me. So, but hopefully
You're
it'll...
all like the brothers I never had or always wanted or whatever.
Oh, so good.
So good. So worth it.
Yeah. I'm still reeling from the fact that movie was what it was and was good. And so,
yeah.
I know we had some, was it Monday after the previous episode? I think we had some off air, like spoiler chat. And so,
I think so.
Fantastic. But, if you haven't seen it, go see it. It's kind of one of those that I feel like it's at that point where it's so much in the zeitgeist that I feel like if you're choosing to not go see it in theater, it's probably for a reason, like, you know, the pandemic.
Yeah.
Or you don't like Spider-Man. And so either of those, and both are...
One of those is a fair reason. The other one, I'm like, it's okay, fine. But
I know I've said this on stream before, but one of my favorite things is that my dad... I was watching E3 when they were revealing the Spider-Man 2018 gameplay. And I was with my dad. And as I was watching, getting crazy hyped, he was like, you know, we saw the first movie and he just swung around a lot. Then I watched the second one and he just swung around a lot. And I didn't need to see the third one to know what he was going to do. And I was like, but Dad, he swings around a lot.
The point.
That's the best part. And so, so even going into this one, that was very much my expectation of like, you know what? We're going to get some cool Spider-Man swinging. Nothing else happens. And then so much more happened.
Yeah.
And so.
There's like 3 of you.
And I've heard of so many people, like a shocking amount, who didn't see it till like this past week and they haven't had anything spoiled. Like I feel like the internet is holding itself together surprisingly well for this one.
Yep.
Yeah, I think overall, like even in like what always gets me is like YouTube thumbnails.
Yeah.
Like that's what ruined the air quotes ruined, like we saw it coming. But like that's what ruined the reveal from Hawkeye for me. And so like I feel like there's a lot of that. And then I also feel like for this there was just a lot of the like everyone like hold the line, like that kind of thing. Of like we all know, if you've seen it, you know, that kind of thing. But overall, it seems way more like civil in that regards than other films have been.
Given that I have no idea what you're referring to in terms of Hawkeye spoilers, I think my end on that has done pretty well. Yeah. So I think that says some things. But
that is surprising because Disney Plus does not care about ruining their
Disney
stuff
Plus will
at
show
all.
You
they
everything.
Post it all over their social media, like immediately. Yeah. They've ruined so many things for me.
Yeah, it's
surprisingly not that.
Yeah,
but everything else.
Like here's this new character poster from this thing. Oh, it's like, oh, Disney, you mean the thing that released an hour ago? That? But oh, Disney.
Oh, Disney.
But tangentially related to Spider-Man, Emma, what do you got for us?
Oh, I do have a thing. Right. Yes. Tangent. Big word. Related. So, courtesy of my Twitter, because AI is very smart these days, and Twitter gave me this article. Morbius has been delayed yet again for release, 3 months out to April Fool's Day, April 1st. Yes, that is real. It's not a joke. Um, Delay possibly due to the pandemic, which makes some amount of sense. But this is I saw this article, and it was like the first time I was like learned anything about the movie. I knew it was coming out, but that was it. I didn't know anything about Morbius as a character. So I watched the trailer because I was like, okay, what the heck, why not? And my big takeaway was, oh look, there's Matt Smith. That's like the only takeaway I got besides, oh, so he's Marvel's version of Batman. Was, hey, look, it's Matt Smith in the background with no lines in one scene. And that was that. But, long story short, Morbius has been delayed. We were supposed to get it this month. We are no longer getting it this month. We are getting it in April. So there you go.
It seems crazy that this was delayed month of.
Yeah.
Like props to them. Like, for if this is like a, we're worried about people going to theaters and watching this with the rising variant, like props to them for doing that. But like, it just seems crazy that this was supposed to come out as of recording like 25 days from now.
Yeah.
And
they were just like, we don't think so. So. Also, not gonna lie, I thought for a while that Jared Leto was dead. And I don't know where I got that from. So, just to put that out there. I apologize in advance to any Jared Leto fans, but that just goes to show how little I pay attention to his career.
I feel like now there's definitely something to like watching back through previous episodes and finding some like very weird comments from Emma whenever we've talked about Jared Leto, where she like thought he was dead, and it's like, yeah.
Let's go back and see how many times I've made that comment. Didn't he die? I guess it's just where he's filed away in my brain of, isn't he one of those dead actors? But I apologize, but this just, apparently not. So.
Maybe with him playing the Joker, you have him confused with Heath Ledger.
That might be it. That would make some amount of sense. I can see now how I would get that thought process.
So one of the things about the Morbius delay that I thought was funny when I saw this in the show notes, because I did not know this had happened, is all like today there's been a bunch of memes about the Morbius marketing department and how no one works there because there's been zero promotion for this movie. And then sure enough, it got delayed. But like there's like a ton of posts about like, just as a reminder, Morbius comes out this month. No one's talking about it, but it's happening. Well, turns out
it's not happening.
Turns out not happening. So gotcha. But
yeah, see, the one bonus of the pandemic is that I have no idea when movies come out anymore. So when they get delayed, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I didn't know this one was supposed to come out this month, and then Twitter was just like, here, this movie's been delayed. And I was like, when was it coming out to begin with? Yeah. Like, what?
Yep.
So anyway, there's my news.
Shanine, what do you got for us?
All right. As was previously mentioned, it is Tolkien's birthday today. He would have been 130. So.
Happy birthday, Tolkien!
That's one of those that both seems way too old and also not old enough.
Yeah.
Like with definitely like the timey-wimey shenanigans of life. of like you could have told me he would have been 300 and I've been like, yeah, that seems about right. And I also would have believed like he would have been 105.
Yeah.
Like something like that. Like
Same here.
Yeah. Time is weird.
mhm.
In honor of Tolkien, what was your first introduction to him and his worlds?
I mean, technically, you could say C.S. Lewis for me, because I learned of Tolkien through C.S. Lewis via Narnia, via my parents. But essentially, Lord of the Rings, in the grand scheme of things, which I didn't watch the movies until high school for whatever reason. I don't remember why. But we had a marathon and watched them in high school with my best friends, and it was a lot of fun. And that inspired me to read the books, and I did. Actually, technically, still haven't 8 years later finished the last book, but you know, that's just how my reading process goes. But the books, movies in high school, because I like C.S. Lewis and Narnia. And someone was like, it's basically like that, but harder reading level. And I was like, okay, I'll take it.
So from chat, Avoided Ice and I have the same first encounter, and that's the animated Hobbit and Lord of the Rings movie. My dad had those. They're from like the late 70s, and so we had them on VHS, and so that was very much like my introduction. And then it was the like they're making a movie, and I was like, but there already is a movie. Why do we need a second one? Because I didn't understand formats and how like and let alone like remakes. But like, but yeah. So those were my first ones, and then I don't know if this was actually before or after, but I had a friend in like elementary school where like we had to like obviously read books, and he chose The Hobbit, but we were in like third grade, and it was just like one of those that was like his first like book of that scale, and like Hobbit is even like crazy like now especially compared to the rest of Lord of the Rings, but it was just like one of those that was like, well, a bit off more than I can chew, and so that's all I remember about The Hobbit, because I've never read it, and then then the live action movies, and then our book club.
Yeah. He's got some great stuff outside of Lord of the Rings.
For me, I don't even know how I got it, but I had like this like daily calendar of with Lord of the Rings pictures, like from the movies. And I was really obsessed with it and was super in love with Aragorn and decided I should probably read the books because I was definitely a read the books first type of person. So I think I started with The Hobbit. It took me like a full year to read the series. This was in like junior high. And I think I hadn't quite finished the series at this point, but our youth group we're doing the 30-hour famine, and we had a Lord of the Rings marathon there. So I slept through most of it, but saw some of the movies there. I still remember being woken by like a screaming orc, like the full screen. Just that was a way to wake up.
Yeah.
And then I hadn't seen like the last movie, and I still hadn't finished the series. And then someone who I was talking with and knew that I had not finished the series told me how it ended. And I have never talked to that person since.
And they're dead to me.
Rude.
It still makes me furious. I'm over it. Yeah.
Before we get into our top 3 animated movies since 2012, we, as always, have a couple announcements for streams this week. What are we planning?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll stream some King's Quest tomorrow. Maybe we'll finish it. Maybe we've got another week after that. We're very close.
I will be celebrating my best friend's birthday and still do not have access to my streaming stuff. So, no Thursday.
And then for me, I'll not be streaming on First Geek this week, but Deanna and I announced that we are launching our own channel called Cameron Plus Deanna. And so we will be kicking off this Saturday. And so we will be announcing what we will be streaming throughout the week, because we'll be doing 4 different streams, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday.
Woo!
And so we announced our first stream for Saturday as Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. So have we spent a lot of time figuring out how to stream board games? Yes. Is there a chance this all literally explodes and none of it works? Yes. So we're very much looking forward to that. And so I will be streaming for that this weekend. And then our next announcement is, of course, that we have book club. We are reading Binti, which, Shanine, do you want to do any more of the explanation for what that is?
It's sci-fi from a Nigerian perspective.
Nigerian. Okay. That's what I didn't remember. I didn't remember.
We'll get some space. We'll get some diversity. I'm very excited.
Yay!
I'm still waiting for it to come in at the library.
Mine just came in.
I need to order mine.
And
I'll do that tonight. / right now. / during post-show chat. So
it looks really good, so I'm excited to start reading it.
It seems like it's going to be one of my favorite parts about book club, which is I would literally have never picked this up.
Yeah.
Just because I mean, this came out in 2015 and I did not know it existed. And so I probably would have continued with my life of not knowing this existed, but I'm super excited for it. And I'm hoping that this kind of ends up being a new Neverwhere.
Exactly. Which is another one of those books that I would have never picked up. I would have bought, but had never read. The book club, which is the great part of it. So I'm with you there, Cameron.
Okay. I hope we're all ready, because it is time for our top 3 animated movies since 2012. And so I feel like this is a top 3 that Chris and I have done, and I have talked about it multiple times on stream, like we have done it. And I went back today to try to find the episode, and I cannot locate it. So I might have fever dreamed that we had done this. I'm not really sure, but I really feel like we talked about it. And so I don't know if it was one where I just didn't put the name in the episode title, or if it's a slightly different top 3 and we just talked about animated movies. Not really
Maybe you
sure.
did top 3 of all time.
Yeah. And so I don't really know, but here we are. I'm super excited about it. In our pre-show, we figured out our order. And so, Emma, you are going first.
What do you think the ocean person's going to pick for their number 1?
There's so many ocean ones.
Yeah, I'm going to say which ocean one.
Finding Dory. The most ocean-related one possible. My number 1 is Finding Dory, because Finding Nemo is my favorite, and so is Finding Dory. So, plus Dory's my favorite character from Finding Nemo / Dory. So Finding Dory. Plus I like the octopus, whatever his name is. I just like all the animals, because the ocean. And it's fun!
Yep. And
That's about that.
it's kind of that category of movie where like this sequel is way better than it had any right to be.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those where it's very much like we didn't need this, but I'm really happy that we got it.
Yeah. And I waited for it for a long time. I was just like, oh man, imagine getting a sequel to Finding Nemo. And then we got it, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. So yeah. I love it. That came out in 2016.
So for me, I'm going to get my obvious one out of the way first, and that is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Part of the year of Spider-Man, which was amazing, where within like a 12-month span, not a calendar year, but like a 12-month span, we got the Spider-Man, we got Marvel's Spider-Man, the video game. We got Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and we got Spider-Man Far From Home. And it was just like the best, like all of those hit. Like Far From Home is probably the worst of those three, and like it's still really good. But I remember going into Spider-Verse and just thinking, oh, this is gonna just be a cool looking Spider-Man movie, and it was so much more. Like it hits you in the emotions. It's genuinely hilarious. Like it is such an awesome take. We get to see Miles Morales take the lead, and then of course get Gwen Stacy as well. And so there's so much cool stuff in that movie. I'm so excited that we're getting a sequel, and can't really say enough good things about it.
So cool.
And then I'll say another good thing. It's also like from a technical perspective too, a very interesting animated movie. Like the behind the scenes and all of that kind of stuff. It's so cool how like they intentionally like animated things out of sync with each other to represent how they like stuff like that, where it's like you don't necessarily, or at least I did not notice that as like what they were doing, but once it's pointed out, you're like, oh, that scene did make me feel like this. And it's just so cool like how they did all of that. And so yeah, can't say enough good things. It's the best, and that's why it's the first one that I mentioned. But Shanine, how you doing?
Okay. Here are my notes and caveats before we get into this.
Of course, you have notes and caveats.
This is an impossible top 3.
Yeah. These
my
were
list
referenced
started
on Twitter.
out with 22 movies, and you expected me to narrow it down to 3.
Yes.
Also, going through the lists, there are so many animated movies that I've been meaning to watch that I thought came out recently, and it's like, oh, that was 8 years ago. Whoops. So I think I'm going with 3 different categories in order to get to a top 3 for myself, just to help me narrow it down. 1 Disney, 1 superhero, 1 other. So I'm really happy that Cameron said Spider-Verse, because that helps me.
Happy to help.
Helps me a lot. So my superhero one is going to be Batman Gotham by Gaslight.
I haven't
DC
seen that one.
live action historically sucks. Their animated movies, however, are super on point. And I have loved basically everyone I have seen. And Gotham by Gaslight is so fun. Is Batman, if it was in the Victorian era, which is like 2 of my loves. Put superheroes in the Victorian era more. I love it. It's so fun. It's just kind of steampunky, and like they make fun references and stuff to other Batman things, and it's great. It's great, and you should watch it.
I am adding it to my list right now because this looks fantastic.
Yeah, I need to watch all of the DC animated ones. I've heard nothing but good things. I remember seeing pictures of this one and thinking it looked really cool, and that's kind of what happens every time one of them comes out. And also, shout out, that was the 30th movie in the DC animated original movies universe, or DC Universe animated original movies. And that was 2018. So there's more than 30 now.
Yes. Yeah, basically, if you want to watch good DC movies, watch the animated ones.
There you go. I shall be watching that.
Mm-hmm. I need to just binge all of them, but here we are. We know how long it took me to watch Shazam, so like, I'll say it now and then hopefully eventually get there.
3 years later.
Yeah. Emma, back over to you.
My second one is The Mitchells versus the Machines. Because fantastic storyline, fantastic art, very similar to Cameron. I loved the combination of different art styles throughout the movie. Lots of giggles, lots of like, basically just my entire brain in a movie, and it's very fun, very delightful. It's like it. I did not expect it to make me laugh as much as it did, and it's a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, The Mitchells versus the Machines.
Yeah. That was on my short list. I figured it would be on yours, but
Yeah.
But yeah, awesome one by some of the people that did Spider-Verse also. Like,
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, another movie that's way funnier than it has any right to be.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many things from that movie that, like, still just, like, thinking back on, it's like, that was really funny.
Yeah.
Like, there's a printer at work that has a sticker of the dog on it, and I laugh every time I walk by it. Like, it just makes me so happy.
Yeah. Such a good movie.
So for me, my number 2, and probably one of my favorite Disney movies of all time, I talked about it all the time on the cast, is Zootopia. And so I loved this movie. And I feel like the reason we did the top 3 the last time was because I kept talking about Zootopia. So maybe that's a hint for something. It would have come out before we started the cast, though. So, like, I don't know. Unless it was like, maybe it was like the end of year thing. I don't know. But I feel like it was because of my love of Zootopia that we did that as a top 3 list. But
makes sense.
Yeah, it's such an awesome movie. Great animation style. I really liked the return to the animal animated movies from Disney. Robin Hood is one of my favorites. And so it was very cool to have the return to that style of character. A great take on what the world and the city would be like. Loved the ideas of predator and prey and what the deeper meanings of that story are. And I like the twist. By no means like the most shocking thing ever, but I really like the twist. And then one more thing. Oh, and I like that Zootopia as a city feels like a real place.
Yeah.
Like the amount of work that they put into like the background design for the city is really exciting.
And the little details of it all too.
Yeah. Like there's so much that goes on. Like how all the boroughs interact, how all of the different size animals like work together habitat wise is super interesting. And so such a fun design. And of course they get the headphones right. And so got to shout that out as well. So yeah. Zootopia.
Very important detail.
Yeah. Very important. But yeah. So that is my number 2. Shanine? I just feel like you're like deer in the headlights for this whole thing. Post-show chat, we're going to go through all of Shanine's list. So
Yeah.
just as a heads up.
Okay. My Disney pick is Frozen 2. There is not a song on that soundtrack that I do not love. Um, plus just two like really great anthem
Mm-hmm.
songs. One really heartfelt crying song,
Mm-hmm.
and Klaus's ballad will never not be the most hilarious thing.
Yep. Hard agree.
I like cried laughing in the theater
Mm-hmm.
when that started happening. It was beautiful.
People can at me. Frozen 2 soundtrack better than Frozen 1.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Am I still a little upset Anna didn't become the Avatar? Yes. But soundtrack bops. Final pick, Emma.
Final pick. Because Dragons, How to Train Your Dragon 2, specifically of the 2 of the 3 that came out. Because Dragons, and that's where you get to sort of start to see the growth of the characters growing up. And it's really cool. And Dragons. It's going to be my reason. My main reason here is Dragons! So.
How to Train Your Dragon was on my short list. That was one I had to look up the year for.
Yeah.
And so as a series, they're all like, again, it's one of those that feels like it's way better than it had any right to be.
Yeah.
Like, especially like as a trilogy.
Yeah.
Like I remember like, because the first one came out the year after I graduated high school. And I remember going to see it and leaving and was like, that was really good, right? Like it was one of those that like, I'm not crazy, right? That was a good movie.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
And so, yeah, such a good series.
Such a good series. The third one makes me sad, which is why I didn't pick number 3 instead of number 2. But I like dragons, so I'm gonna pick the dragons.
Yep. Okay, so Shanine's been dealing with her whole list. My third pick has been my stressful one for me. And so I'm going to go with my heart. And even though I feel like I shouldn't do this, we talked about it earlier in the cast. My number 3 is Encanto. And even though it like literally just released, and I feel like I kind of have that like that hype just from it being a new movie, I really liked that one. And especially after feeling kind of let down by Raya, not like Luca was cool, but wasn't anything that I was like, oh, this is crazy. And so Encanto was really like that first Disney movie in the, like the past year that I really was like, this is great and I love this. And so I really like what it has to say about family dynamics and finding your place. I like that it is a story about family that isn't just Coco all over again. That like,
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the name of it. And I was like, and so it took me a second to get there.
It's
And
not
so-
just for one big happy family.
Right. And yeah, it's really cool. I'm a sucker for like, it's a superhero movie. Like as funny as like that comes across, it's a superhero movie. And it's really fun to see. They pulled it off really well. There's some fun world building questions that come out of it, but those are like just like nitpicky, like fun nitpicks rather than anything serious. All the music is so good. And yeah, everybody should see it if they haven't already. I think it just hit Disney Plus in the United States. So
It did. It did.
So we have not watched it again yet, but I think we probably will watch it again soon.
I just watched it last night? Night before last? Last night. Very good. Very, very good. That was also on my short list, but I figured other people would pick it. So.
You figured correctly. Okay. Shanine, last one, no pressure.
Okay, this one was actually the easy one because it's the only one that I knew had to be in my top 3. Um, it is The Book of Life from 2014. Not many people have seen it,
I've
but
seen
in
it.
my opinion, it is superior to Coco.
It
It
is.
is another like Day of the Dead story, and it came before Coco and it did it better in my opinion, and it's just beautiful and it's great, and the songs are all like pop songs that we know but with like a fun Latin twist, and like it's great. It's so great. It's so great.
It is quite a good movie.
And Zoe Saldana is in it, apparently. I remember seeing this, but I've never like I never saw the movie.
It's worth it.
Still listen to the soundtrack every now and then.
Listeners, hit us up with your top 3 animated movies from the past 12 years down in the comment section or over on our Discord. We will be continuing the conversation over in our post-show chat, as we all have many more to talk about. And so, but yeah, with that, I guess let's go ahead and get ready for that chat. Listeners, as always, you can find us on our social media as OneGeek411. You can join our Discord server if you want to hang out. Send us an email at 1stgeek411@gmail.com, or check out our Red Bubble store for that merch. Watch live on Twitch, 6:45 Mountain Time. Hang out or drop a follow so you can hang out during the streams throughout the week. And then you can find the videos over on our YouTube. And of course, you can rate and subscribe wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. And of course, if you want to connect with us personally, you can do that on our personal social media. Mine is Humar Whittill.
Mine is I am not prepared with an I in the prepared on all social media platforms.
I'm the Hoot and Howl on Twitter and Hoot and Howl Tales, TALES on Instagram.
And it's been a great week.
Don't die.
Read a book.